biblical thinking podcast, where our goal really is to be biblical people, to be thinking people, people that think biblically about the world around us and think clearly about the Bible so that we can apply it to our lives. And so one of my goals is, to interview people. In the world, there's this term influencer, as referring to social media influencers and things like that. But I don't think that just because someone knows how to manipulate a computer or the algorithm of YouTube or Facebook that necessarily makes them influential.
An influencer. An influencer to the computer.
Yeah, so I would rather interview people that are actually influential in people's lives. People that are living normal life really are the more influential. Teachers, principals, fathers, friends. Those are influential people, So I was interviewing Gary recently, just because I know that's the life he's lived, and his life was changed by the Lord, and so to just hear how that happens a lot of times is really helpful for us. So this is my dad. Get a chance to interview. He obviously was influential in my life for multiple reasons. I wouldn't be here without him. But there's a lot of things that you've learned over the years. But I always want to start out with just what kind of family you grew up with. How were you saved? What kind of things how has the Lord changed your thinking? As Romans says, that we're transformed by the renewing of our mind over those years. What's your story?
Okay. I grew up as a Catholic. I was always sensitive to the Lord in my life. My first encounter, if you will, of the Lord in my life was when my grandmother was scratching my back one time, and the Lord gave me a sense of she's going to die soon. And I started crying because I love my grandmother and I didn't want her to die. But she tried to comfort me, and why am I crying? And I couldn't tell her because I didn't want to tell her she was going to die pretty soon. But 2 weeks later, she was in the hospital with a heart attack, and she died from that. And that was my first encounter with the Lord. And after that, as I grew up, the Lord just kind of nurtured me, and I was in a Catholic school growing up, and I had friends who wondered why I was the receiving end of bullies in school a little bit, and some close friends of mine would ask me, why don't you fight back? And in my heart, I knew the word said, if your enemy strikes you on the left side, turn to him also the other side. And that meant real things to me. Even though I didn't know the word that well as a Catholic, it let me understand that there was something more than just words on a page in a book. And, well, that was me growing up. Then I went into the Navy, and, in the Navy, there's not a lot of spiritual things that happen. They say a Navy man has a girl in every port. And I didn't have a girl in every port, but I was definitely not a spiritual influencer at the time. So anyway, I basically walked away from the Lord in any capacity that was meaningful. And as I was going through the Navy, I had this friend, and he was having trouble in his marriage. And I still went to Catholic church while I was in the Navy because, the Catholics teach that if you don't go to church, it's a mortal sin. And I didn't want to sin, but I still was not close to the Lord at that time. But my friend said, he came to me in his problem with his wife. He said, "You're the only person I know that goes to church." And, well, I didn't want to tell him I didn't know the Lord, but I kind of recognized that the faith or the religion that I had was basically bankrupt because it didn't have any practical use to help people and help them get out of their troubles. So I started looking to see what was going on between me and the Lord. And, in the Navy, I was on a submarine, and in a submarine they have
kind of a captive audience.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they also papered their walls with pinups from Playboy, and so it's not a very
spiritual environment.
Yeah. The environment on a submarine was not conducive to growing spiritually.
Right.
But the submarine would go out for 3 months and come back in for 3 months, and so while I was on the base, I started. Well, I didn't start, but I read the Playboy books,
Yeah.
And you don't read Playboy to get literary benefits, but you read it to see the pictures,
Yeah.
But anyway, I was invited to go to a Bible study one time, and I didn't have anything else to do.
On the submarine?
Well, while we were in port.
Oh, okay.
And when I went to the Bible study, I thought I'd go to the Bible study to get some kicks. I didn't really expect anything to happen spiritually. And when these people at the Bible study was interacting with me, I recognized how nice they were. They were good people, and I kind of liked them. So I just kind of logged that back in the back of my mind, after the Bible study, and then I kept living the way I was living.
Do you remember what port you were in?
Yeah, this was in Connecticut, Windsor, Connecticut. As well, let's see. Yeah, well, no, it was Bainbridge, Maryland. That's
Okay.
right. When I was in nuclear power school.
Sometimes it's interesting to me, we have visitors to Bible studies a lot of times. You never know where they're coming from, where they're going. So sometimes we don't know if we have an impact on somebody,
Yeah.
So who knows I'm sure you don't remember any names from Bible study.
I remember a couple.
Yeah?
Yeah, I better not mention names. My friend that was having trouble with his marriage was Bud Rupert. He was devastated by the fact that he did not have a connection with God, and there was nobody he could go to get help. And that's what started me.
Yeah. Seeking.
Yeah. And then...
like in the Bible study. I mean, it's crazy.
At the Bible study, the people were nice, and I enjoyed the fellowship, and I didn't really think I would.
Did you know it was fellowship at the time? Did you know what that was?
Not really. I was at that point in my life, the best thing toward fellowship that I could think of was going out with my buddies and having a beer, or some kind of alcoholic drink. But anyway, as I was going through my daily routine in the barracks, in the nuclear power school, I would read Playboys, like I said, but then when one of the people from the Bible study would come walking by, I'd put the Playboy away and take out another book or even the Bible. And I started to see what kind of hypocrisy that was in me. And I didn't like being a hypocrite because, I was becoming one of the people that I used to use as an excuse not to go to church anymore. The people are all hypocrites there.
Right. Yeah.
So I was becoming a hypocrite, and I didn't like it. So anyway, I made a commitment to check out the fellowship of Christians more intimately. And I was 20 years old at the time, and my friend Ed DeRowan, he was the guy that kept after me about come to Bible study with me, you know. And so I finally ended up going, and he kept after me, and I made the commitment, and I said in my own heart, I said, when I turn 21, I'm going to make a real commitment, one way or the other, to walk in one direction or the other direction. I don't like being a hypocrite anymore. So, this is digging back a long ways, you know. So when I turned 21, he kept after me, and I said, well, I'll make a decision. He asked if he could pray with me, and I said, well, I don't want to pray and say I'm going to do something if I'm not going to follow through with it. I said, I want to make this I want to make a commitment one way or the other, and stick with it, because I don't like being a hypocrite. So when he asked if he could pray with me, I said, give me 2 weeks so I can look at everything and weigh the consequences. I knew enough of the Bible that if you're going to do something, you need to count the cost first. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to count the cost, and after two weeks, I decided to follow the Lord, and I made that commitment when I turned 21.
On your birthday?
On my birthday. We were out at sea, and we're underwater deeper than 400 feet.
Not allowed to say how deep.
No.
It's top secret.
Well, it's confidential, but we're allowed to say that it can be deeper than 400 feet. Right. I can't tell you what test depth on the submarines are. Right. But
then you have to kill somebody.
But in Psalm 139, it says, "Where can I flee from you? And where can I go to get away from you, Lord? And if I go into the hell, you're even there. And if I go into the depths of the sea, you're even there." Mm-hmm. And I can testify it, as a matter of fact, God is deeper than 400 feet in the depths of the sea, because he got me. And I've been walking with him ever since.